Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. All I mean one, because there's only a month here, and the other one is just not showing face. I know there are two people here, but it might be a bit too late for you guys. However, in India, it's something like what, early morning, or was it? It's about noontime, yeah. So let's see what Aman has to say. Says, damn, I can't believe the title. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's exciting, but I don't see any takers here. We're in the wrong time. North America, it's 10 o'clock, but I guess they're busy with other things. Um, Aman says, male 20 India. Thank you for that. Aman says, that girl that I told you said I'm not manly enough. I left her saying she disrespected me. She said sorry and kept me back, and we again went out. This time I really liked her because acted she acted improved. Okay, she was well mannered. But next day she went to date with another guy. So what do you expect? That's the age. You're 20 years old and she's probably what, 19, 18, 20, 21, something like that. It's the age that she wants to see how many people will pay attention to her, and that's the way most girls find confidence, see if how pretty they are, how much attention they get. It's pretty much the same with any one of us at that age. We like to have the attention of the girls, and we like to see if they pay attention to us, and that makes us feel good. So don't blame her. It's not like, but the problem is with most men is when they get involved or get to have a chance to go out with a certain girl that they like, they think of her as a wife material. It doesn't matter what age they are, they think like there's going to be a future. So they quickly want exclusivity. And that's a problem. You got to see if she's also in the same wavelength, or if she does want to have a serious exclusive relationship, or she's just being at her age and enjoying her life by going out here and there just as you should. But instead, you're sticking to one and considering it a treasure that will never come again, as if that's the only woman or the girl in the world, because you seem to feel what's here in present time, it's the only option and the only chance that you will ever have to go out with some girl. So you're a little bit extraordinarily excited about it or give value to it, rather than just let it be a friendship. You go out, don't try to impress her, just enjoy the company, enjoy the topics of discussion, the activities that you guys have, rather than trying to have an outcome out of that outing. Like you have to have a conclusion. I should get her to kiss me. I should get her to like me. I should get her to commit to me. I should. None of that should be in your mind. You should just enjoy the time, the companionship, discussions, activities, experiences. You go on a date. I don't know. You go on a restaurant, or you go in a movie, or whatever it is. Just be there for her and with her, interact with her rather than any expectations. Then you will have a good time. But instead, you will focus on who she's gone out with, who she's going out with. Will she also go out with me again? And you make her become the whole purpose of your life. That's too early. You got to simply play it for what it is. Take what she offers, and girls are more in demand than guys because we boys are programmed for procreation. We're programmed to love and like and pay attention, pursue women. That's in our program. We can't help it. So it's not a credit to her that you're interested in her. That's your programming. And she's pretty, but she didn't do anything for that. She was born that way. So that's her luck. But and that's the way you roll in life because you're programmed to roll that way. So don't think of it that it is her speciality that makes you feel the way you do. If she doesn't, there will be another one that it will make you feel just as the same. Didn't you like other girls that you went out with and it didn't work out? Now you like this one. So you can see there's always going to be another opportunity. So don't think of any of these as the end all be all. And if it doesn't work, oh, I'm devastated. No, just enjoy the game, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the interaction, and let it be that. No more expectations. That's all. And then you will have a good time on your date. If she wants to go out with somebody else, let her go. It's free will. Never ever try to convince a woman to love you. If you guys resonate on the same values, the same intentions, the same maturity, the same level of expectations, the same standards, and you have similar respects, then you be yourself and let the resonation take charge. And if the woman likes you, she will like you. Don't ever try to convince a woman to like you. That never works, as it never works if a woman tries to convince you to like her. You can't, because the liking part is in regards to compatibility and bonding on the consciousness level. That means about the content of your consciousness, the conditionings that each have received, the values that each have, the goals and aspiration, things that are important for both of you. If these match up, your topic of conversation, interests, manners, morals, values meet up and are compatible, you may naturally like each other without either one of you try to convince the other. But you try to convince a woman to like you, it'll never work. Any woman try to convince you to like her, it will never work. There's so many variables involved, not just mental variables, also aesthetic variables. And if she likes you or doesn't like you, doesn't mean you're the best looking guy in the world. Or if she doesn't mean you're the worst looking guy in the world. If some woman likes me, it's a pleasure. And if I also aesthetically and emotionally and on the basis of values and protocols and standards and expectations, I also value her, then I would like her. But if I don't find the whole package compatible to me or palatable, I can't. I'll be courteous and proper and respectful and appreciative, but I can't love her. And the same thing for her. It doesn't matter what kind of gentleman I am or how I present myself, how cordial I am. There are certain things about me that some would like and some may not like, depending if it resonates with their moralities and values and expectations and protocol and conditioning in their consciousness and anything else that they hope to achieve and accomplish in this life. If those things match, they will like me or maybe they will even love me. But that is not up to me. It's supposed to be a free will. She will decide if I am up to par or up to her expectations, and she will let me know. And at the same time, same for me. So don't try to convince anyone to love you. Just experience, interact, exchange behavior, emotions, ideas. See if it has a housing there. If it clicks, great. You build on it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't expect things from people. People have different echelons of understanding, expectations, motivations, values, and conditioning. And that is special to everyone. So relax on that part. You don't have a mission when you go on a date to convince her. That's a problem with dates. You're just there to be there, interact and enjoy and be a gentleman. And that's all you can do. The rest, Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. All right. Mm-hmm. Aman says, but I don't know why I keep feeling bad. She's gone out with other guys. I never told her I like her. It doesn't matter, just why do you expect her not go out with her? When she goes out with other guys, that's your cue not to take her seriously. Just go out when it comes up and don't go out and don't expect her to be yours. Because if a woman goes out with other guys, when she's interested in you or you're interested in her or you guys had some kind of an agreement, then that's a no-brainer. That means that's not a girl for you. So that's it. Muhammad Ansari Khan says, OCD male 18 India. Does breakup feel that pain? I don't understand. OCD, what does OCD male 18 India? That means you have OCD. Well, most people do. And so, what does it have to do with breakup and how you are putting it together? Please elaborate on your question. I would be more than happy to read it and try to respond to it. Muhammad says, I don't know the pain of breakup and I don't have girlfriend. I want to know that pain. Oh, you will. Don't worry. don't 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 look forward to it. It's an experience all on its own. If you want to consider it pleasant, you can, because that means you're alive and you're in the on the pitch. You're in the game. So that pain, if it comes, you'll feel it. It's not pleasant, but it's part of life, and it's not a end of the world either. And everybody goes through it. So be patient. That'll come. You're 18, so lots of time. And we have Byron Raymond, says male 27 California, says my apologies if you answered this already. I don't think so, because we just started pretty much. But what are your thoughts on dating apps? Do you suggest men approach women in person? That's the best way of knowing if there is a possibility, because on dating apps you can't feel the emotion of that person through, and what I mean is not through the words that you each utter in your messages. Words have meanings, and based on your meanings you come to a certain conclusion. But being near a woman and feeling her vibe, feeling her energy, that is a fact, that is a true thing. Energy that runs through us all is real. Haven't you ever noticed, uh, whether you were a child or an adult, college, school, whatever, whether it's a man or woman, your business is in, I don't know, studying, or it's some kind of a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, or whatever it is, a person in front of you, sometimes haven't you felt you don't feel comfortable to go any further than, let's say, yay distance to the person that you're talking to, or this, like you don't want to be closer than 5 feet. You don't want to be as close as 3 feet or 2 feet. When they come close to you, or you happen to be in close proximity of someone when you're conversing or discussing something, you feel uncomfortable. But there are people that they can be pretty much close within 1 foot or 2 foot, 2 feet or 3 feet, like a normal distance. And you have no problem. You feel safe, you feel comfortable. The energy quality, it's like unleaded versus leaded gasoline. You've seen these buses, the old engines, they when they, put their foot on the gas pedal, and it burns black smoke coming out of it, all CO2 and not proper to smell, to breathe it in. And then there are cars who are on gas or electric. There is no emission, or they're on a very refined unleaded gas, and there is no smell or emission, and the engine is tuned up. That's a kind of a feeling that you get in a nonverbal situation with people's energy. Sometimes you even have no conversation with someone, but you happen to be passing them by, or somehow you're standing maybe face to face or in a lineup for some purchase or whatever, and you don't feel comfortable. But there are other people that you can be close to them and you still feel very comfortable. Um, and these are the energies that I'm talking about. So, nothing better than being in the presence of a woman, feel her energy that is being naturally extended out of her without any intention from her or from you. And you feel some of it's like the being caressed by a flower, and some is like being near a cactus tree. That could be man, woman, friend, or whatever relationship it may be or situation may be. But that's the kind of a feeling I'm talking. So when you're in the presence of a woman, there are words they exchange, there are eye contact they exchange. There's so much information passing along non-verbally, and the energy that is having a conflux between you two without any intention that you extend or she extends, just happening through any human being, any animal, any human being, from one end of the universe to the other end of the universe, and it passes through you all the time. But when it passes through you, it changes its quality. Either the quality becomes more refined and pure, or exits in the same charge and positivity and happiness and refined and healing effects, or it changes into something ugly, something that is not palatable, something that is poisonous, or rather intolerable. This is why it's so important to become friend with someone that you have had a chance to interact with physically in reality rather than the dating app. On these situations, you can clearly know if this person has any possibility or any chance with you or any interest from you or her side in a second. And with dating apps, that's not possible, really. If there are a bunch of words and they're all rehearsed or created to fit in, the intention, and all intentions are verbal. You cannot feel any emotion from them. But in presence of a woman, two people are standing side by side and discussing. It doesn't matter what they have in their mind and how it is being uh, projected. The emotion, the energy that is passing through them, it will tell you the truth as much as possibly you can in that first or second whatnot encounter. But you can't have that in the apps. It's all written and it's all pictures. You judge a woman on a dating app in a snapshot of her life when she's all dewed up and smiling, and it just gives you a certain message as you wish it to be. But there is no energy with it. So you cannot know what kind of a quality of energy is behind that smile or that day. Second before that picture or half an hour after that picture, she could have been a totally different mood, different energy, different person. So you cannot sum up the character or the quality of the energy and existence of a soul of a person in a snapshot of a moment, in a second of her life in that picture. And that's the problem. People see each other's picture, they write a scenario for that picture in their own mind, they create certain image of that person in their own mind. None of them could be true. And when they meet each other, they either get disappointed or they try, but they see it doesn't go. Why? Because there's an element called energy that wasn't part of the equation in while you were exchanging messages on the app. So nowadays you can do it through Skype. At least that's a little better, but still nothing better than seeing each other in negotiating life situations, real life situations, such as having tea or coffee, walking, talking, shopping, these sort of real situations, how they interact with the others, what their values are, how they carry themselves. These are very important stuff in selecting. And of course, many of you are probably um, have heard about this very famous defamation suit that is going between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I would like to ask you guys, why do you think they're having problem? I want to hear from you. Write down for me, why do you think Johnny and Amber are actually where they are? What's the reason? Where's the roots of it? So while we're answering questions, that is something I want to hear from you guys, and then we'll talk about that as well. Muhammad says, Mehran, how you overcome impossible OCD disorder? If you really want to, you will, because you realize who should be the boss, you or the brain. It's like asking a silly question as who should be the boss, you or your liver, you or your intestine? Who should make decisions for you? And you can know by educating yourself about OCD and OCD subsets. When you understand what the role of brain is in your life, then it becomes possible. But if you think you're below the brain and brain is your intellect, then you're fucked. Pardon my French. Because you have to know the apparatuses that are there to serve you as a sentient being. They're not you. They're there to facilitate what you want to accomplish and what you want to do. And each have a certain mandate. Your liver has a job to do, your kidney has a job to do, your heart has a job to do, your brain has a job to do. None of them are you. Specifically, the most newcomer of all, between the kidney, liver, heart, and all the other stuff that makes you to be who you are, is the brain. Because we have lived for millions of years, at least, from where we started. And we lived without this brain. We didn't have this brain, but there was a me, there was a you, our ancestor, there was a human being without this brain. It had a reptilian brain, it had a stem brain. That was it. It was living like an animal, everything instinctive, running, playing, cooking, hunting, cooking, whatever, eating, hunting, sleeping, having sex. There was no questions because there was no ability to ask questions, to think, to speak. Everything was instinctive. Their sexuality, orientation, things to do. All OCD and OCD subsets are mental. And it all started when this Homo sapien, this human being, at one time, which was about 40,000 years ago, was able to benefit from a sophisticated brain versus what he or she was used to for millions of years, which was stem brain, instinctive living, fear, running, hunting, having sex, who they are, who they were. Nothing was interfering with their assessment of life, because there was no ability to speak, no words to mean anything, and no thinking possibility. All the problems for human being as far as the mental issues, most of it without the biological issues, started because of ability to think. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. And OCD, if it doesn't have a support thinking, thinking support of some idea, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing. For example, if you're touching the light switch 20 times, is because there's a thought process behind it that if I don't do it, something happens to my father or to me or some loved one, or I lose some money, or such and such girl will not go out with me, or my exam will not go through. There is a thought process that makes you think that you got to have a deal with some overseer, some watcher, which that watches your own thoughts, but you don't know it at that moment. You just think there is something that is deciding for you or can manipulate what does or does not happen to you. So this thought process is behind the motivation of you doing some crazy stuff. Responsibility, OCD, checking the oven, bunch of them. Why? Because I don't want anything to burn and I'd be responsible for other people getting hurt. Or checking the door, or touching the light switch off and on, or thinking that if your orientation is changed. These are thoughts. Biologically haven't changed. Thoughts that then affects your behavior, your motivation to do or not to do something, because it takes away your confidence, covers up certain things that are important to you, makes you distracted and doubt yourself. These are all processes of thoughts. So when you understand where the brain's place is in your existence, then you will know that regardless of what thought happens, is created, pops into your head, that is not you. You're not responsible for that. The brain itself uses its own apparatus to make thoughts, and none of those thoughts are your responsibility or your order for it. You use the brain to do certain calculations, figuring out something, learning something, accomplishing something, whatnot. But the brain itself, when you're not using it, is also doing its own figuring out things without being connected to you. It's an apparatus that is designed to make thoughts. So it makes thoughts. It doesn't even know what they are. It guesses things. It doesn't know. It does not understand what you understand. So there is certain part of you, there are aspects of your mind and you that the brain cannot reach. Therefore, you thinking that what the brain pops up in your head is actually anything from any deity or comes from any meaningfulness, is all bogus. It's all nonsense. When you understand this, then you position the brain as it should be, as an organ. Then you judge it. It doesn't matter what it suggests. It cannot make you do anything whatsoever. As Dr. Leibet, one of the famous neurosurgeons and neuroscientist, in his experience in the lab, proved that when the subjects are all there and they're supposed to record a decision that they're about to make, not the action that follows the decision to do something, when they make that, and while they were logging what was the exact time that they made the decision about doing something simple, he was also having these probes connected to their heads to measure the electromagnetic currents going through the brain. And when they said, okay, at certain exact time, let's say 10, 11 seconds, I made a decision to push the button. And he checks and says, yeah, about half a second before 10.11 second, there was a spike electromagnetic spike in the brain, which showed that the brain was involved. And of course, the materialists, which always been in the discussion between the dualism and materialism, some Aristotle time, 1,000 years ago, they jumped at it and said, see, the brain makes a decision. He says, hey, wait, there is a second part to the experiment. And that was when the subjects were told, once you make a decision to do something, like push the button or something simple, then I want you to veto it. So when they looked and then logged the time. So when they looked at the time that they logged, they said 10:11, I decided to push the button. And then 10:11 something, I vetoed this. I said, no, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it. And they saw about before making the decision to push the button, which was 10:11, just half a second before, there was a spike in electromagnetic activities in the brain. But when they decided to veto it, which they logged it was a few seconds after, there was no activity, electromagnetic activity in the brain. Meaning the brain was not even involved in the vetoing process, in the decision making, the final decision making. Brain was deactivated. Meaning there are aspects of the mind and you that is way beyond the pay grade of the brain, and the brain cannot reach it. So thinking that what brain conjures up or shows up in your brain about any subject, OCD or any subsets of OCD, it's useless, it's stupid, it's lack of information, lack of education about what brain is. Okay, it's unreasonable because the science now, not just because of the 1,000 years ago what Aristotle said, science, the modern science have now proven that you're not the brain and brain is not you. And there are aspects of you and the mind that brain cannot even reach. These are what you can use in order to clear yourself with from OCD glitches and so on, at least to a heavy level. Some of the things could be a conditional thing that it may take a bit more of your rewiring your brain by continuing not doing something to avoid the process of obsession, compulsion, and then compulsion leading to dopamine. And then after a while, you don't do the compulsion for the obsession. You're doing it to get the dopamine, and then dopamine ending up to leading the way for that action is no longer for the dopamine, is because it becomes your habit. Because in the basal ganglia, in the striatum, the three rings of goal finding and rewards center and habit center, they're right on top of each other. So every time that you do a compulsion to feel good, dopamine is secreted. That's reward center, goal finding, which is to do the compulsion, and then you get a reward, which is a dopamine. So every time you do the compulsion, you're actually stimulating the dopamine center, the reward center. And every time that you're getting that dopamine, you're actually, which is the result of doing the compulsion. So every time you do the compulsion, you're actually stimulating the habit center as well. So eventually you move from doing the compulsion because obsession is there. No longer you're doing the compulsion for the obsession, you're going to do it for the dopamine. And then after a while, you're not doing it for dopamine, you're doing the compulsion because it's your habit. That's when it becomes more difficult to get rid of it. And then you need to refer and rely on the ability to understand the effect of these to your health, which is another way of getting yourself out of this glitch and bringing yourself to a better balance. All right. Let's see. Byron says, I think Johnny Depp and Amber Laura Heard have a problem. I'm just adding narrative names there, just make you guys see what we're talking about. So I think they're having problems because maybe they aren't compatible. They don't speak the same love language and didn't know how to manage each other. I also believe Amber has some issues. And Byron continues, says, maybe Johnny has some issues too. I just don't think they made each other better people, which is important in a relationship. You need someone who makes you better. So, would you agree with me that what you're really trying to say is that where they are is due to their selection process? In other words, the motivation for each one of them to be with the other one at the outset of getting to know each other was not the same, or the purpose for that gathering was different. And the selection that was motivating them, the selection that took place, had different motivation for each one of them. If two couples, if a couple, at the time they meet each other, they are looking at each other as a solution to their challenges and shortcomings in life, then their selection process is not based on compatibility of the conditions and the content of their consciousness. It is based on something that they have created in their mind about the other person, an opportunity, um, a solution to their challenges in life. And therefore, they did not focus on the compatibility, as you mentioned here, and they did not focus on resonating on the energy, goals in life, the maturity, the purpose of wanting to be together. None of that was focused as much as that this person is a solution to my shortcomings, and that person thought the other one is a solution to his or her shortcomings. And that covered up the real process that should take place between two people, which is focusing on their interactive, mental capacities, maturities, goals in life, experiences, tolerance, compatibility on the consciousness level, conditionings that they have received when they were up, in their upbringing and in the experience of their life, and what they have learned from it, and how they can actually help themselves in their life based on what their life has been so far. Instead of learning about each other on these levels that we just talked about, they were mostly focused on each other's looks and positions and material things and opportunities based on what they thought a quality life would look like, based on the conditionings that they had received in their consciousness, that what is a happy life or successful life should look like, and what are the ingredients necessary for creating such a life, such an experience. And for each one of them, maybe one of them looked at the other one being so pretty. Maybe he thought that would give him the level or echelon of uh, success. Because always a beautiful woman makes a man feel just more successful than what he could be. And maybe that is what took away his focus, rather than finding out what is her energy level, what is her intention for this communication, for this connection, what is her path in life, what is she wants to accomplish, or has she accomplished most of the things, what are her values, what are the parts of the compatibilities and things that needs to be understood and compromised or tolerated in each other. Instead, the focus went on what was pleasant about each one of them. So maybe Amber was looking at him as a famous actor, the possibility of she getting into more movies through him. Maybe it was because he had a certain look that was palatable or pleasant to Amber, according to her taste in men. And maybe it was about what kind of a lifestyle could be offered to her. all these other things somehow had covered the real issue, which was getting to know each other's values, expectations, standards, habits, paths in life, focus of where they are wishing to go, what they want to build together. Maybe there was no plan as far as it would involve both of them. It was all individual plans. This one was thinking about what he would gain by being with her, and this one was looking about what she would gain by being with him. And all that created a certain kind of a acceptance in the selection that they have done without really thoroughly examining each other's intentions, soul, energy, compatibility, conditioning in their consciousness, and therefore their selection was doomed to begin with, because the motivation for such selection was not based on creating a bonding connection and creating a unity in this relationship, but creating a better situation individually as each saw it fit. That's my two bit about it. Anyhow. Nova says, hello, Maran. Hello, Nova. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Otto Gepko says, she completely used him, Maran. She also went after Elon Musk. Oh, did she? Well, she certainly looker, but it's funny how anybody, well, I'm talking about women, but any human being could be a very good looking and attractive until you actually interact with them and be able to exchange energy, which becomes apparent when they are negotiating life on day-to-day basis. And if they haven't been able to see that because they were not really trying to understand each other on the energy level, and mostly trying to understand each other by physical connections and what each one of them is doing for the other one. So the question is, do you love her? Or in her case, do you love him? Or do you love what he does for you? Or do you love what she does for you? It's a two different thing. So naturally, if they were not focused on their motivation and reasoning and understanding what love is all about, so they just focus on the physical attributions, physical attributes, and they lost the whole purpose of really finding out what the person is all about by focusing on physical things rather than what that person, how that person is put together, which is not always based on what you have and how you look like. So, and at the outset, maybe a good looks could be a good invitation for someone to be interested, but quickly the energy and the conduct and the standards and morals and values will take over the good looks. And that's why many good looking people who happen to be together, they get separated because they were both aesthetically maybe good looking, but the energy, values, compatibility, conditioning in the consciousness were not resonating together and could not bond. And that's when things don't stick together, because relationships don't happen on the physical level. It's attractive on the physical level at the outset. But then if there is nothing to bond, which is the conditioning that they've received in their consciousness, the content of the consciousness, then it doesn't matter how good looking they are. It will always fall apart. So in relationship, make sure that you guys, just as you are opening your eyes and focusing on the aesthetics of each other, also see what makes this aesthetically pleasant to you, physical entity, what makes it tick. And that's up here. which through negotiating life and spending time together, you will find it. Then you end up becoming more beautiful to each other, or if you guys are physically handsome, you become really ugly and intolerable towards each other. That's what I have to say about that. All right. What's that white spot here? Oh, it's here. Brenda Kuke is here. Says, good evening. Good evening, Brenda. Brenda, please remind me, uh, age and where you're tuning in from. I remember your name for sure, but it's been a long time, no? Aha. Brenda says, Great Falls, Montana, 59. Welcome. Good to see you again. You haven't shown up here for a long time. How have you been? Everything okay? It's a bit late in the evening for, I guess, for everybody. What time is it in Montana right now, Brenda? Brenda says, Yep, doing great. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you as well. It might be pretty late for people in North America, especially if it's late in the West Coast, then the East Coast is a different story. But in Middle East and Europe, Europe is early morning. Middle East is mid morning, so or morning, so it's not bad. But having said all that, we don't have too many people. Perhaps it would be something for them to enjoy on the upload. So I'll be here with you guys for another few minutes, maybe another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll call it a night because it's time for me to also do other things, prepare other videos, and finish before it's too late, so I can also get some time off and goof around a little bit, and, and then, all right. So I guess Brenda is busy. Let me find out what time it is in Montana. Time in Montana. 11:51 p.m. What time is it? Oh, it's only 1 hour time difference. So okay, got it. Yeah, got it. You're 1 minute. Your watch is 1 minute behind, Brenda. It's 10:52 now. Pretty much soon. Yeah, there we go. 10:52. All right, guys. I guess I guess there's no more questions. We spent about an hour together here, and I think we just touched on a couple of interesting things. And I'll upload it shortly, and hope that you guys enjoy it. It's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream, which could be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Vancouver time, 1 p.m. Vancouver time. Brenda, if you wanted to join, that will be 2 o'clock. Just saying. Brenda says, You crack me up. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't want to be responsible in breakage or any cracking anybody up, so I better end the session here. So again, I look forward to our next live stream, which would be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Vancouver time. In the meantime, be good together. Sorry, be good to each other. What? Be good to yourself and others. I don't know what was it that I used to say. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. There we go. Be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Jeez, I really messed this one up, didn't I? Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind.seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. But we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing. Again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you. Thank you very much.